everybody. We are back with Mitchell. Mitch, I don't call you Mitchell, feels too formal. Mitch, um, we're we're having a conversation that is 2 days overdue because I'm real bad at scheduling things, but you guys don't need to know that because this is going straight to YouTube. So forget I said it. I don't edit
Exactly.
these
Bam.
things. Um,
We did this interview before the game.
yes. Yep. I don't know anything about it. Uh, so yeah, my name's Mads. I'm your host typically. Except for that one time. No, I still hosted. Somebody else DM'd, but I hosted. You can JK Madigan on Twitter and stuff. Mitch, if you want to introduce yourself for people who just want to come in and hang out at the interview and didn't see the stream, and then we'll just get into it.
Yeah, my name is Mitch or Mitchell. I'm known as Penny for a Tale on all social medias. And yeah, I'm the project lead for this guy right here, Necrobiotic.
Which I didn't address on the stream, but that is the coolest little. Where do I get one of those? Because that's fucking awesome.
We've thought about selling it on the Kickstarter.
Like, I adore that so much. That's way cool.
I know, right? It's so like, oh gosh.
As somebody who has just a wall of hexagonal panels that respond when I chat, like, I want that.
I want what you got, so let's.
I'll trade. We'll trade for a week. We'll see how it sticks, and then I'll send them back because I like these. But
yeah, those are pretty cool.
Right. So Necrobiotic is fucking amazing. I had a blast. It's littered with flavor. It's got tons and tons of cool stuff. Even just right out the gate from the Kickstarter like quick start guide, it is like the one page that it talks about the story and what is going on in the world and kind of these different organizations and things. It is so seeped with color that it's really easy to get a gauge on, what is going on in the world, which is so good. Because usually I talk about smaller books, but this one's gonna have a good bit of content in it. As far as I'm aware.
And we're continuing to add more as the Kickstarter kind of goes on. So it's just gonna be this amazing thing.
Yeah, as of now, we're it's Tuesday. It launched on Wednesday, sort of. But shame on you, man. Kickstarter. It's just gonna eat right? You. But so we're about a week in. Where are we at with the Kickstarter? How well's it been doing? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so we popped through our first stretch goal earlier, I think Sunday, and right now we are coming up onto 23,000. So, yeah, we're doing pretty good with an average of 260 or 360 per day, based on some analytics. So we're right on track with 339 backers.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
I know, I'm super excited.
I have yet to drop money into it because I realized that the Kickstarter bonus that I want is $100, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna wait for a sec.
That's fair.
But I want those cards, so I'm gonna wait for that big package.
No, I feel you. Tell your boss you need a raise or a bonus. Or
which one? The TPK boss or the other guy that I don't talk about?
Yeah, maybe both.
We'll
start with both. The TPK. Yeah.
Cole played with us. He knows how good it is. I'll yell at him. He wants the cards too. So project lead is what we talked about before stream is kind of what you do. Tell me about what all that entails. Like, what are you in charge of? What have you all tackled?
Oh man. So pretty much from I want to say everything. So we got it, of course, in Italian, El Ingranaggio. And so the first thing was getting it to my friend who was a translator, who translated the whole thing. And the core rulebook's done. It's translated. It's over.
Okay, pause for a sec then, because I'm interested. I knew that it was translated, but I didn't realize it was a pre-existing book.
Yeah, right here. So El Ingranaggio is the Italian TTRPG that Necrobiotic is based on. And then, of course, El Ingranaggio is based off of the novels El Ingranaggio, which is, I think, 5 books in, and it's a series that is done, written by Valerio. all in Italian. And so Necrobiotic is kind of 2.0 because it was released. The TTRPG was released about 4 years ago. It was really cool and stuff like that. And I discovered it through my business partner. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, I want to bring this to the English audience, and I want to make it bigger and better. And that's pretty much what we did.
So, do you read Italian, or are you
No,
okay?
no, not at all. No, I took 9 years of Spanish. Don't speak very much of it. So
I learned a little bit of Italian when I was younger because my mom wanted to go to Italy, so she forced me and my sister to learn. Mind you, that was where all of my like book reports and things were on. I love Italy, so
yeah,
I spent a long time like, yeah, I'm gonna write these things as a fifth grader, and then my mom got Rosetta Stone when that was exploding, and was like, we're gonna learn Italian. I did that for like 6 months, and then my
yeah.
brain couldn't hold the attention long enough to maintain it. Maybe as an adult I could now, but I that's super cool that it came from a different book and gives me all kinds of new questions now. Does the system itself, like the core mechanics, are they the same, or did you change those?
So much of it is the same. We've kind of changed some of the ways some of the things work out just from a mechanical standpoint. It seemed to flow better this certain way. One example is that in the Italian version, the NPCs use a health track that goes down. While the PCs, it's a health track that goes up, much like World of Darkness and stuff like that, where you're putting dots onto the page of your empty health track compared to like D&D where you have your health track and it goes down. So we wanted the NPCs and the PCs mechanism for tracking your well-being to be the same. So we changed up the wording in how that works. And then we're also introducing like a help mechanic, as well as expanding the tarot deck mechanic, introducing a new archetype and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of we had the foundation from El Drenaggio, and we're just kind of expanding upon it for that
Okay.
real nice crisp feel.
It's El Drenaggio Advanced. It's the
Basically, yeah, yeah,
it's the
yeah. I mean,
3.5.
yeah.
Um, I Boondog yeah, Boondoggles is gonna take credit as soon as the help mechanic shows up. I know it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll have a
So
special like thank you for yelling at us.
over and
We'll
over
put it in
again. We need help.
Italian
We
too.
need help. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was superb to play with you on stream too, because it was like specifically it was fun to play with you on stream because I was not anticipating playing a game that was so light as the one that we did.
Mhm.
I was very much anticipating a very kind of gothic noir, like the thing that I had written for the story was a lot more investigative, and we did a lot more
Yeah.
like little like dark minutia in there and stuff. And what it turned into was this big comedy fest of two superheroes and their old folks running around with them, and it was
Yeah.
so good because I don't know, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the theme, but it's like it doesn't have to be that. And
Yeah, exactly.
coming from the creator is really fun to see that. And it's like no, play it to enjoy it, however your
Yeah,
table
like
sees fit.
oh yeah, that's one of my pet peeves with designers and creators is when they kind of point out things that they don't like for streamers and people playing the game. Like play it however you want. We give you like a playground, but if you want to scrap the playground and make a dinosaur, go ahead and do it. As long as you're having fun, I don't really care. And I've played. Well, actually, that was the second time I've ever played, so I can't really speak much experience on playing, but like I've GM'd like very serious ones, and I've GM'd like comical ones in a mix between the two, and they've all been very fun. So I like that you can do both with it and
Yeah,
a little
and
bit
I
of in
think that's
between.
super necessary. And you can bet your fancy flash and sign back there that I'm gonna have some Florentine museum that somebody's gonna reanimate a dinosaur now, because
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's gonna happen. Like
that would
murder,
be
like murders of the T-Rex, like just barreling through Florence because somebody said, "Oh yeah, this tech is fun." Uh,
yeah. And I loved in your scenario the fact that they had constructs as the militia, which is something I never even thought of, and I was like, that's really cool. Like I definitely see that happening in the world, in the setting,
Yeah,
and watching that was really cool.
I appreciate that. I really, really do, because I looked at when I was reading through the rules and things, I'm like, okay, here's the core stuff that people are doing. Here's their core beliefs as like a society right now on what people are maintaining, and it's like it feels like the way that the quick start was written that the government's pretty cooperative. We're very
Yeah,
much on board with people and we want to help people. And I don't feel like that's the way it always goes. So I'm like, yeah, but what happens if we take that and we just edge it a little bit more extreme and say, nah, militia's too dangerous, put in the robots. And then that goes
yeah.
bad and things start getting worse. Um,
Like it was perfect in its nuance. You have like something that like from a top down view, you're like, okay, I get it. The government's trying to be nice and kind, and they want to help people. But then you're like, okay, well, this is post apocalyptic. People's spirits are already down, and you take away like the ability to do something all day, and it could definitely create some frustrating circumstances.
yeah, you get the one
Um,
martyr out there who says, no, 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 we need to feel like people. And then you got a whole problem to adjust.
yeah,
So no, that
like
means
it
a
was
lot.
amazing.
I'm glad that it served itself well. Part of the scare of doing top shelf stuff anytime I do is the whole point of every stream is I don't read any of it till like a
Mhm.
couple days before, and neither does anybody else. I only put people in it who've never played it except
Oh
for the
crap! I
designer.
I broke the rules.
Right, you broke the rules. No,
Yeah, that's
because
my
if you've
bad.
only ever played it as a player twice, that absolutely counts. Because
Okay, that works.
most
Yeah.
of the time, I like that change in perspective and being able to
Hmm.
see it from the designer's perspective as a player. So that's the only real
It
break of the
blew my
rule.
mind how how fun a technofont was. Like I looked from the top down and I'm like, man, these technofonts are always jumping into everything. But then you get into that suit of armor and you're like, but why not?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's the
I,
reason the barbarian I think in D&D as anytime I've played it it's like they're super simple. Objectively, they feel like the simplest character in the game, but they're
yeah.
also some of the best times I've ever had playing cuz it's like, "No, I just want to wreck shit. Let's just
Yeah,
do
it's like
that."
that. I'm going through that wall,
Yep.
so
You can't stop me. I'm going to roll for it and it's good.
yeah.
And speaking of the troubles with the word roll, you guys are working off of a deck building mechanic, which is
Yeah.
I've seen card mechanics before, kind
Mhm.
of. I've never played one. This is the first time I've played with cards in a tabletop game, so I was a little apprehensive. But I absolutely fucking adore deck building games.
Oh,
Um,
me too. Like
Star
Lord of the
Realms is one of my
Rings,
favorite
Star Realms.
deck
Yeah, that's
builders.
was that White Wizard Games, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, right?
Yep, I've
Yeah, and they have another game out that's kind of like Victorian-esque.
Ooh,
Man.
yes, I know the one you're thinking of. It's
Yeah,
not
you
coming to
play like
mind, but
mages and stuff,
uh-huh.
and you build a deck before every game, so it makes it really interesting. I mean, Lord of the Rings too. Like I love that deck building game, and
Oh, super
so
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with a lot of them, but the ones that I've played have always been a blast. And Star Realms is the one that I'm collecting most of. I'm hoping in the next like 2-3 months we're getting finally the Nova collection from Kickstarter that I've been waiting on. But
Nice.
that happened at the beginning of the pandemic, so they just delayed everything out for
Yeah, I
eternity.
feel like everything is just like we're
Yeah.
all about to get hit by a wave of board games and
Mm-hmm.
TTRPGs. We're not prepared for it.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a
It
glorious
is.
flood, and I'm gonna drown in it.
It's like, yeah.
All of it. Yep. But yeah, deck building, the concept of deck building as like we're gonna take the shitty cards, we're gonna dump them as we go, and we're gonna continue to collect the better cards, works so well from a thematic skill improvement perspective in a tabletop game. And you said you adjusted the mechanics a little bit, so I assume the cards it started with cards,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That whole like deck building and the successes and everything like that, like that's the foundation, and it's
Okay.
something that we hope in the future to kind of expand out to more games. But right now I'm loving it, and it's been a hell of a time because I just like the ability that you could go to a con with like your little deck in like a wooden box or something, and you have your character in there. And that's all you'll need to play like conventions and stuff like that. If you
Oh
just have
yeah.
your deck, like you don't really need anything else. Um, and so for that, it's just like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually a neat thought towards it too, is that the deck almost supersedes the need for a character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you know the numbers for your character, that's how your deck is stacked. You just toss it in a box and go. That's rad. Because the thing that interested me the most about it, and I think I mentioned it on stream, was the fact that you get to look at your hand the whole
Yeah,
time, so you know exactly what kind of moves you can make in a particular scenario that are going to be effective for you. And you know what you can achieve that's going to be a little bit riskier and what you can try to maybe push based on what you don't have in your deck. And I think there is a very encouraging thing about the card counting involved in that that I
yeah,
love. Um, because as a
yeah,
player, as a person, if I'm role playing through it, I'm the big armored wielding a massive fucking scythe guy. I'm gonna go, yeah, I know I can jump through that. Is it gonna be good? I don't know, but I know I have the skill to do it. Um, like card counting kind of encourages that realization that yes, I know myself. I know what I'm
yeah.
capable of.
Yeah, it's less wishy-washy with the like a typical roll or something. Like yeah, I like it that you're like, yeah, I look at it, I know I can do it. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and I really like with character growth. Like, there's so many ways to build your character. Like, do you want to get rid of some of the other cards and just have heart cards if you're like really into the social aspect and want to rely completely on your heart cards to kind of fulfill all the other aspects of consequences as they come? Do you kind of get rid of the smaller value cards on all ends and just kind of keep the higher value ones? It's just like so much you can do with it. I
Yeah, it's
really enjoy.
that's a neat thought too, because if you look at the quick start, it doesn't have full character creation. The
No.
pre-gens are a great place to
Mm-hmm.
start because you still get the ability to you get a really good feel for the game, and you can easily double up on characters without it feeling too cloned.
Yeah.
But with with the book, I assume it's going to have a start from scratch character creation, and then it's going to adjust all of those little notes. Are are the decks starting off, if you're building a new character, are they going to be like a point buy kind of thing? For like you have 22 cards in your deck. How are these stacked?
Yeah. You kind of you start with 20 points for your features or your attributes. And you spread them out as you wish. The only like limitation is you can't have anything lower than 3, and you can't have anything higher than 8 at the character creation. So you spread them out as you will with those numbers in mind. And then of course you throw in your Joker, and then you decide like, do I want a king or a queen? And you get to kind of have a conversation with the GM about what your king or your jack or your queen is, and if you want to bring in a king to get that other card in too.
Yeah,
um
tell me about the king too. We didn't see one during stream, and I would
yeah,
love to know a little bit more about those. Because the
yeah,
system is fascinating. I think the quick start doesn't do them justice in the way that it's worded for me to easily understand that one.
yeah, definitely. Like kings are really fun because so first off, they can never come during the beginning of play, so you're never going to get screwed by them once you start. um they come in later on, either through a breath during a short rest or a breath during combat, um or any other pool really.
So you can't draw, like if you draw your 6 cards at the beginning of the game, and you draw that one, it's just redrawn and put back in the deck.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it always has to be a big deal. It always has to be kind of unexpected. So the moment you draw the king, you discard it and you have a choice. You either get a trauma in the suit that it represents, and your whole job is to kind of role play how that happens and what kind of leads to that. The second one is you fail or cause yourself trouble in this scene or the one following it. And so one of those two things happen. It's kind of up to you to decide which you want to have happen. But yeah, other than that, it's discarded.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna start digging into the stuff that's not in the quick start. Can decks
Yeah.
become bigger than that 22?
Yeah. Yeah, as your character grows, you can add more cards. So, you can continue to put points into like flesh or steel, and then you put the next numerical value on that into your deck. You can add in other jacks and queens, as well as take on more kings in order to get more cards. And then you can also remove cards from your deck, such if you don't want like an ace of hearts, you can remove that in hopes that you just have a higher chance of getting the cards you actually want.
Right. Aces are low in this game.
Yes.
Um,
I keep forgetting that.
yeah, no, I don't personally gamble, but I play a lot of poker. I like poker as a
Yeah.
game, so I'm like, no, aces are low. Aces are bad.
They're the bad. They're the bad cards.
No, that's why I love the system because everybody has a deck of cards at home too. I've started to really love D6 systems for the same reason. It's
Yeah.
very accessible to just be like, I'll go grab my Yahtzee box and grab some dice out of it if I don't have some. Like it's a consumer based, like it's not a starter system for any by any reason, but there's low entry. There's a very
Yeah.
low point of entry to get into it.
Yeah, and I think it also like brings you a little bit away from what people might assume from role playing games. They see the D20 and like a lot of images come into their mind. Some of them good, some of them bad, depending on kind of your growing up experiences. But like a D6 system brings up something different and new. For me, D6s have always been kind of the flagship of the indie community. Was kind of like Powered by the Apocalypse, right?
Hmm.
And then cards are kind of even more of a niche within that one. That's like, this is something completely. What the hell? Like,
Yeah, it's funny too because I have yet to play a Powered by the Apocalypse game.
oh my gosh, are you kidding? Like,
No, I'm not.
oh,
I'm serious. Like I have 3 or 4 on my shelf. I've never touched them yet. Like Monster of the Week and a number of others that are all built
yeah,
off of Powered by the Apocalypse. They're all there. It hasn't come up because I got thrown into I got thrown into the indie tabletop stuff. The first 2 that I played were Morkborg
nice.
and Electric Bastion Land.
Both amazing
Um,
games. I love
yeah,
those.
yeah,
Yeah,
stunning games. Electric Bastion Land was like the inspiration for this whole series, and I'm pretty sure everybody who's watched these interviews has heard that same sentence 14 times now.
everyone. You should just clip it every
Every time,
episode.
yeah, I'm gonna start charging Chris McDowell royalties for the amount of times that I
Yes.
just plug his stuff. Um,
It's
but
good stuff. Like
it's
they're both of those games are definitely one of the better things to come out of the industry like in the
mhm,
last 10 years.
yeah. Absolutely. My other one's Mothership right now. I have all of the Mothership expansions that I'm super excited for.
That
But
is a really good one.
yeah, it's weird how dice or cards or even if you've played or heard of Iron and Lies
I
by
haven't. No.
Bats, it's uh, if there was ever a game that I could recommend to somebody, it's that one because it will change the way that you think about games. It uses no dice or cards at all. All you need is the book and some people, because it's built off of a set of basically social understandings about the world and how it interacts that you have these boundaries, so it turns into just this conversational repartee between
Yeah.
the GM
That's
and the
really cool.
players, and
Yeah.
it's fascinating because it plays just like any other tabletop would, based on these tiny parameters, and it uses no random dice chance at all. Uh, and it's
It reminds me of
spectacular.
like Nordic LARPing or LARPing or parlor LARPing.
I'm
There's a lot of that in there.
I'm gonna have to look up that word now because I'm unfamiliar. Um, well, I know. Okay, I know that one. I just meant like what is parlor LARPing specifically? But
Yeah, yeah, that's your Vampire the Masquerade type games,
okay,
World of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to host how to host a murder parties at her house all the time, old
That's
box set
awesome.
stuff, and yeah, all of her friends would do like the full dress up everything. Me as a like I was 12 and I wanted to be part
Oh,
of those so bad, but I just
yeah.
couldn't grasp the mystery stuff, so she always had
You
me
had
as the
no chance.
butler.
You were going to be a TTRPG person, like no matter what. I felt like that was just
I
your
mean,
destiny.
it's worse than that, I promise, because my first name, like my actual name is Karaman,
Hmm.
which is the protagonist from like one of the major Dragonlance series. Like
Oh man,
my name
yeah.
is a D&D character. Like my dad was huge into D&D. My mom did how to host a murder parties. Like it was bound to happen.
Oh, yeah. My
Uh,
parents were the opposite. I was named after a baseball player, and my dad desperately wanted me to play sports more, and it just never. I was
there
like,
you go.
nah.
So big metal cut lights in the background and the
Yeah,
fantastic white drapes, I'm sure, is exactly what they were anticipating.
yeah. They're like, that's sports stuff. That's sports ball.
It counts.
Yeah.
Um, Goodness. Yeah, I'm currently working on a game that uses back to the mechanics thing. I'm currently
Hmm.
working on a game that for the life of me, and I don't know why, I love D8s. The just
DH are cool.
yeah, I think it's the shape of them. I just think D8s are fun, and I think D4s are entirely underused. So this game uses only D8s and D4s because I'm a bastard, and I'm just like, nah, just scrap
D4s
the
are
other ones.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah, D4s are very dangerous. I'm surprised you're using them.
yeah. Well, you gotta play with a little bit of fire.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the it's not me plugging myself, but it's the conversation of like it doesn't matter how you build a system as long as these rules are agreed on at a table, and
Hmm.
the whole deck building thing feels like it almost reminds me of as a kid I used to take the risk pieces out of the risk board and I'd play Monopoly with them so that we could do corporate takeovers and
Oh my god.
start um like aggressing other people's like little establishments to take over the territories. And that's what Necrobiotic feels like just a little bit in its mechanics at surface value. Is it's like I'm going to take this deck building game that I really like and my dad's deck of cards, but here's a
Yeah.
cool concept from this book. I forgot my dice. Let's just use these, and we all agree to it, and it works. And that's
No, that's
rad.
why that's what I really excited. And for me, it was like when I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament at Toys R Us when I was a wee little Mitchell, strutting about with my like horrible deck, and I love that person, like the fact that this was my deck and there was no one else who had a deck like it. Of course, there were others who had it, but like for me, it was my deck.
Hmm.
And then like playing it and like you know taking the card out and like flourishingly put it down on the table. Like I want that to happen for someone coming to a convention, and that will just make my dream come true because then I will take my deck and PvP them and
Yep.
destroy them.
If I ever
So
see
good.
you, I'm gonna be. Oh man, I wish we could have gotten to the PvP stuff too. I love that there's actually writing in there for that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something that I wish was in more tabletops because I want to see conflict between players and them just duke it out.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I like what was it Symbarum? I think doesn't really have rules for like PvP, so they're just uh, like
yeah,
so
I
every
mean
time that happens, we're just like, I don't know
D
what
and
to
D
do.
has very little any kind of conversation about PvP, and you'd think they could because they're so obsessed about balance. Um,
Yeah, and in combat too. Like
yeah,
it's like 3/4 of their book. You think they just have like a little article that says, "Okay, your wizard's being a douche. Here's how you throw down."
yeah, fight him.
Yeah, just kick the
You're,
crap out of
yeah,
him.
the very back of the book, you can find your fatalities in the index. Like,
Oh, that would. God, yes.
good lord. Now I want that. I'm gonna have to design like
I
character
know, like
fatalities.
fatality should be in every book, like
It's true.
Alien and I think Coriolis has it as well. Mutant Year Zero, like all of the Free
I was
League,
gonna be like,
like
you sound like a fan of the free leagues.
I am a fan of the. I have all their books. Oh man, I'm fanboying so hard.
I
So
finally
sorry.
picked up is it Vason? Is that how it's
Yeah,
pronounced?
Vicen. I don't
Vicen?
know. It
I have
sounds
Vicen and
right.
I have Alien. I need to pick up Symbaroum because that one looks delightful. But
It is, and like I think Freely got that from I think the company was called Jagerson or something like that. So it's very different from their other stuff.
oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, very very different.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they picked it up from another smaller company, and
That's
it's
cool.
definitely my favorite fantasy game.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, glowing recommendations from the Florentine automaton corpse man.
yeah.
Uh,
Do it.
I'm gonna now. Um, oh, good God. This is how all of my interviews go. What was I talking about?
We were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards, initiative,
Oh,
PvP.
yeah, no, I was just gonna make the joke that if I ever see you at a con once, we can do that again. I'll be the person with the full flourish slamming down my king.
Yes.
Uh, just like, fuck me up. I
Part of
like
the
failure.
cards.
Um, no, I do. I love designated failure in a system. I think there's
Mm,
so much to say about like I know myself well enough to know when I'm gonna fuck up, and having a couple cards in my deck that force that fuck up is really fun.
yeah,
Um,
and players do such a great job of doing it too, with a lot more buy-in than if you as a GM were trying to fuck them up. Like it's amazing. Sometimes you gotta be like, go to your player and be like, is everything okay? Like leave your character alone. You've done the flaw, okay? Just drop it. It's
you
fine.
okay?
Yeah. You want a cookie?
Heart is the other one that I enjoy so much for that. Grant Howitt did a spectacular job in just making the
Oh.
characters really, really fucked up and have to put that on the character to do. Uh,
Oh.
the fact that and I read through it before the premiere episode of the Top Shelf, and the fact that the Zenith powers at the very end are like pretty much every one of these is gonna kill you. I'm like, uh, it, my D&D table would die. Like they couldn't handle that. That's too much. But I'm like, it's amazing how much somebody will put forth when it's like, I know this is the end, so I'm gonna make it cool. Um,
Yes, exactly. Like, oh man, players they'll take turns and,
mhm,
and lead you places. You're like, holy hell! So
yeah.
let them do it.
That's interesting, though, that it sounds like that was a deliberate choice to like keep the players at the front of, their own traumas and things. And I love systems that do that the more that I'm reading them, but I appreciate that that's in Necrobiotic because it's very much the kind of world for that.
Yeah, like one of my favorite aspects as a GM is you don't really have anything other than like you just need a notebook and a pencil, cards if you kind of want to follow the optional way of tracking stress and trauma for an NPC. But other than that, you're not you're not trying to figure out a DC based on like skill levels and stuff like that. You're not rolling against the player. You kind of have very simple mechanics on how NPCs interact with the player characters. But then other than that, it's like watching your player characters interact with the world and make those choices on what's important and what's not, and dealing with those consequences.
Hmm.
Something I've really enjoyed about it.
That's very, very good. I'm excited to see what becomes of it. I'm excited to see what is on its way for it. What do you have planned? You said it's continuing to add to it. What all do you project is going to end up in this book? How big is this going to be?
Ooh. So I'm thinking probably like 350 pages.
Ooh.
So with like adventure, so there's two things I'm really excited about. One is the Children of the River archetype, or Joker as we call him, which adds a little bit of mysterious religious mysticism to the world. Um, there's also the construct template, how to play a construct, and what does that look like. I want to expand um, the different art types and just kind of give more of a feel so that player characters can kind of dive into it as they wish. Um, we have all these cool writers. I mean, Peternalo, who's doing like a short story, and he was the one who did Cult Divinity Lost for Helmgast, which is an amazing book. Oh, you got the Bible.
I got the Bible version. It's so good. Like it is the one of the coolest books I own,
Oh
just because
yeah,
of its visuals. Talking about
yeah,
powered by the apocalypse.
yeah. Like I wish I had that in church. I feel like it would have made it a lot better if I'm just like flipping through it.
Right.
We're
Destined to
actually.
upset someone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh man, the whole thing. It was funny. So I'm the marketing director for Cult Divinity Lost for Helmgast.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of my main thing. And talking to all of the people and like the original creators who made first edition way back when they're in Sweden were like, we made this book and then we didn't realize how many evangelicals were in Sweden at the time, but we figured that out real quick after we published this book. And I was like, oh man, that sounds like a trip.
Yeah, I live in central Utah. This would go over really well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But hey, it's in Bible form now, so
yeah.
you can
Well,
take
and
it.
that's
You
the
can
fun
take it.
part is I can put it right up on the top of my top shelf and nobody notices. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's a really pretty book." And it's like
Yeah, that's
nobody thinks
just
anything of it.
yeah, words of wisdom. Just it's amazing stuff in here. Definitely read you some cult.
Mm. Yeah,
It's
and then
one of
I'll
my
show
favorite
people
games though.
Morkborg and they're like, "What the hell? This is."
Oh God, Morkborg. Oh, the layout designer for that game, like, is a god. It's so
I
interesting.
know.
Every page, it's just gorgeous.
Oh, I aspire to that amount of foil in a book one day.
Oh man, I feel like the trend will just be foil all over the
It's
place
yeah,
for every
yeah.
TTRPG.
The exception is gonna be like now everything's foil, so now some things are solid like matte ink, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'll be pretty
It's gonna
cool.
reverse on itself. Um, you you were telling me about your position with Cult and
Yeah.
the stories there. How long have you been working doing that? Like, how has that been? I know very little
Uh,
about the publishing company for Cult. Like this one, I picked
yeah.
up because of its aesthetic, and I read through it. But like, it is wild.
It is so like did you grab the core rulebook, or have you at least you've seen the core rulebook, like the original core with the art and everything
So
like
it gave me
that?
a PDF of that. I have the PDF
Okay,
version of the
cool.
core rulebook, so I've seen the art and seen how that lays out. Because
it's
this
it's
is the
amazing.
core. It's just
Yeah,
no
yeah,
pictures.
they just removed all the made it, made it so that you could take it to church is what I say. If you so wish. But yeah, I've been working for Helmgas for I think about a year and a half. So between like Helmgas and I also work for Black Void Games as their marketing director too. So between those two was kind of the basis for me attempting Necrobiotic, just kind of all the things I learned from being around them and absorbing their knowledge. I know Helmgas has like Troubleshooters came out on the Kickstarter like last year, and that's kind of a 1970s like Tintin vibe TTRPG, which
Interesting.
was so drastically different than Cult. So very
Hmm.
different. But it's a lot of fun. It has some hilarity to it as well as some unique mechanics. And then we have later on this year we have Neotech. I have it in Swedish on my bookshelf, but it's kind of their perspective of the cyberpunk genre, and it looks really sweet. Like the Kickstarter for the Swedish version came out about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's a gorgeous book. Helmgas really kind of shines in terms of production value as well as storytelling. Um, yeah, I think people are going to really like it.
I'm excited. I feel like in the small amounts that I've seen of Hollywood depictions of European counterculture cyberpunk sounds great.
Oh, it's so cool! Like, oh man, let me. I'm just gonna grab it. Hold on, real quick.
Oh, do it. No. I don't have any agendas for these things. Get after it. He didn't hear that last part. And he has a Princess Bride on his shelf. Hell yeah.
You ready for this?
I am. Absolutely. Ooh. Okay. It's square.
Yeah, like we went with a totally different vibe with this. So you have the two supplements right here that I just showed off, and then the core rule book is this.
I very much like the fact that those are all these bizarrely uniform square. Those are
Yeah,
gorgeous.
like it looks very pretty on the inside. It has all these ads and stuff, which are just hilarious. But yeah, they just have like a wonderful art, and I really like
Ooh, that's
the
got some
QR codes. Yeah.
that's got some Mass Effect uh the elusive man kind of things on that spread you
Yeah,
just showed
yeah.
up. What are the QR codes for?
Oh, for special little things. So we're actually doing that with Necrobiotic too. Is kind of I love secrets. Invisible Sun I felt did like perfectly with this. I guess this approach where throughout all their books they have all these little secrets that people who are like really interested can dig in and explore these new and interesting things. And it's the same for this and the same for Necrobiotic. We want these little things that aren't too difficult to find because we don't want to go crazy, but stuff that people can be like, okay, if I look at this QR code, where does it bring me? This brings me to like this audio thing on the internet that gives me a piece of lore that I can then share with the group. It could be it could be part of a mission. It could just be something cool you show off to them.
The fatalities list? Like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
we gotta throw
Fatality
that in
list
there,
is a QR code.
right?
Oh god, that'd be awesome. Aliens should do that with their like injury table, just like a
Ooh,
little randomizer that says,
that
"Yeah,
would be
you're fucked."
sick. Yeah, just tap that
Wouldn't it?
QR code and be like, "How bad
Yeah.
did you get fucked up on this bad roll?" Like,
Yeah. You dead.
oh God, wouldn't that be? That's all it says. It's just
Yeah.
QR code. You dead. Bye, son.
Yeah, let's feel like the because was it the last three on the injury table are just you're dead. It should just be like audio clippings from Aliens where they're talking about it's game over, man. It's game over, man. That would take that freely. Take it for free. Enjoy it.
Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. I love it so much. Ah, goodness. Now I want to make. You said that we're talking fatalities. We're talking about death, and I look over and I've just got like my Junji Ito collection of manga stuff on the stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I gotta get some. I gotta make some of that into a tabletop. Just get the real crazy body horror tabletop RPG.
Do it. I love like cult with its body horror is very fun. But there's not really any like I mean, especially with the Mortal Kombat movie that came out, like that
So good.
fatality. Yeah,
It
I
was
know,
so
Red.
good. I had a
No, I
blast.
still fondly remember the old ones.
Same. Yeah, I've seen all of the old ones. They were very good. When the dragon came back, I mean, you used the dragon fatality. Spoilers, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's a big
So
one. It's Kung Lao.
Yeah.
But between the two of them, like that gave me such immense nostalgia to watch that. I'm like, yeah,
I know.
woohoo!
And like trying to find the good things and like the worst things, which is COVID, like having the ability to have these awesome movies just come straight to your TV. I'm really jiving with that.
Godzilla
Like
versus
that's
Kong, 100%. That was
yes.
the other big one that we were all just like
Yeah.
screaming
And
at
it's
the
like
TV, like
I don't want to
Bakuman!
go out for popcorn. This is way better. I don't have to put on pants.
It's true. It's true. It's why all of these are recorded via Zoom.
Yeah, it's just right there. It's like that's gonna be the future, and I love it. Like I don't want to go back to a theater.
Yeah. No, it's been real good, and we have tangented so wildly, so consistently from Necrobiotic, but it is really such a good game, and
Yeah, I
I
know.
have
We're
I
going
have to plug
everywhere.
that in there every once in a while because y'all really should go get it or go back that
Yes.
Kickstarter. It is phenomenal. It was so much fun to play. Go watch the stream and things because this guy's wild. It's so good.
Yeah, I figure if I continue naming like cult and free league, people will just like think it's anonymous, like synonymous with necrobiotic. Like they're all in the same
Just
space.
plugging
And
in the big names, you're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
on the
yeah.
list, right in between these two like
Yeah, we're
major
we're right
publishers.
there.
Right.
Yeah, we're right there. We're Swedish, awesome. Right there. It's
Yep.
amazing.
We'll do a wait. We got to get a uh one more Morkborg plug in there.
Oh
We'll
yes.
toss that in there so that we can
Where's
just
mine?
make sure that
Somehow.
Necrobiotic's in the same
Yeah,
lineup.
you got Morkborg and you got Necrobiotic, and they're right next to each other.
It's both disastrous visions of the apocalypse, but one is
Exactly.
gas lamp lit and filled with walking corpses, and this one's filled with the creepy and Morkborg. I said this one. Morkborg is filled with the creepiest fucking goblins I've ever experienced.
Oh my god. And the weirdest characters. Like every time I auto generate my character, I'm like, I
Oh,
would run if I saw this person on the street. I'd be like,
speaking of
mm-mm.
like weird AR and like or QR codes and like all the little things that you add, like the decision from Morkborg to build Scumbirther is the best thing that could have come out of anything. Is it's like just let's just auto generate this wild fucking character so that you can do whatever and let
It's
them
so
die,
weird.
and then
Like
just click the button again.
they're so hardcore, and like they're watching their Twitter and as they poke around at other
Mm-hmm.
like TTRPGs is also so funny.
Uh huh.
They just have their aesthetic down, and they're the best.
It's spectacular. I ran Morkborg last year before the top shelf existed, and I had a
Hmm.
blast. And I was going to get, and it still brings me great sadness to this day that it never happened. But are you a fan of metal music?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with Rotting Christ? Okay,
No,
so
I of late I've been listening to K-pop, which I think it might be the opposite of metal music in
hey,
general.
I enjoy both. I'm down for
Yeah.
both. No, Rotting Christ is I want to say they're Swedish, but like somebody's gonna fight me because I'm gonna be wrong. But they're up that direction. I can't remember if they're Swedish or Polish or something of the sort, but it felt very appropriate to put in Morkborg.
Yeah.
So I emailed them and I had contact with them to
Oh my
license one
god.
of the Rotting Christ albums to use as the backtracks for that one Morkborg episode just because I could. Money is a hard thing to have a lot of. It
Oh
was
my gosh.
expensive.
It
But
like I poked like several places about licensing their music for the Necrobiotic trailer, and I'm like, holy, I'm out of my league here. I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'll go back.
Oh yeah, I'm still in the free league. I can't afford that.
I know, right? Like, what the hell?
Dude, and they were so nice too. So I don't want to shit on Rotting Christ because Rotting Christ is a band, which is who I got in touch with first. They were the most spectacularly kind people to email me back and like have the conversations that we did. I loved talking to them, and they were all about licensing it for free. They're like, "No, we just enjoy that this our music brings you that kind of passion that we're going to like to the story you're trying to
Yeah,
tell. Like please use it." But we can't make that decision. Talk to our publisher. And I'm like, fuck. So I go
that's
talk to
where
the
it
publisher, and
always
they're like,
comes
here's
down
our
to.
bill. And I'm like, no, I can't do it now.
Every time, like there was a song called like City of the Dead, which I thought would be perfect for Necrobiotic, and I got in touch with the artist, who I think her name was Aurealis or something like that, and she was super nice. She's like, this sounds cool, like, I think you should do it, but there's other people that are a part of that decision making, and she was straight up on it. She's like, they'll probably ask for a lot of money, so I don't know if you'd be into that. I'm like,
Well, and I'm not one to throw more work on his plate, but Chris Bissett makes some really goddamn good music. And he's a tabletop writer. You can find him on Twitter at
Christmas set.
Pangalact.
He sounds, yeah, it sounds
Pangalactic. He
familiar.
made the book called The Wretched. It's a solo tabletop RPG. He's also working on a current Morkborg supplement, actually, as well
Yeah.
as the soundtrack for Orbital Blues. Another one coming out on Kickstarter I'm super excited about because I love blue collar sci-fi.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I mean, that sounds amazing. Like, I love TTRPG soundtracks ever since I got the Shadows of Estrin soundtrack, which was really cool. And then, like, the Cult soundtrack, I think is my all-time favorite.
Cult has a
Um,
soundtrack?
yes,
Uh,
it does.
I didn't know that.
It
How come my
is the
Bible didn't
most.
come with the soundtrack? I...
It's too difficult to print them, I
Oh,
think,
that's
and
so
this is
good. If that's
you
on
should.
Spotify, I'm looking the hell up out of that. But
Yeah, look at, because oh my gosh, I would go to sleep with it if I also didn't have like my 2-year-old nearby, because it's just majestic darkness.
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, it's oh man, I love it so much. Yeah, definitely check it
Oh
out.
yeah.
Download the soundtrack.
Divinity
It's worth
Lost
it.
Ambience. Let's see. Oh, this is a number of different things and related to. This is somebody else's playlist. Damn it. I'll keep looking. I thought I'd found it. I didn't, but it looks good. That's a good looking playlist.
Yeah, just go to the Helm Gas website. Just grab it. It's great. It's
Yeah, I have to go.
amazing.
I'll have to go look for it. No, I love playlists, and it's a good spot to plug Chris Bissett because he's rad on Twitter for one. I've yet to play a game of his, but we did an interview for Zine Quest back in February. But he composes his own stuff, so he'll put out
That's
games and
amazing.
things. And he's a composer. He's part of a metal band and stuff, and just makes really fucking cool music. Um, so most of
That is
he's got a
awesome.
game called Dice Souls currently in the works. That's my favorite, one of my favorite design things of 2021 because it's a DVD case, like an old game case, and he's got the game booklet where the instruction manual would be, and then the
Ooh.
soundtrack and the game slot, and then you got the whole cover on the. It looks like a fucking Dark Souls game. It's fantastic.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, we're
Um,
hoping to have a soundtrack for Necrobiotic. We're working on it. We got about 3 tracks.
is it
So we're
a
excited
stretch
about it.
goal or is it something that's just happening?
I'm still deciding upon it to see where we're gonna fall. So I'll probably be announcing it here within a week. To whether it'll be just a stretch goal or just something we give away. Um, but both
More
both would
reason
be
to go
awesome.
back it though, because if it is a stretch goal, it has to happen. So go get it,
Go go go
and
go go
and
now!
yeah, do that thing. I can't be more excited than that. This is my most excited I have about
Look
go
at that
back a
finger.
thing.
That is an excitable finger.
Um, but no, I want more games with soundtracks. Here's the big question: if you put
Mhm.
out a game with a soundtrack, is that soundtrack going to be free use for people who stream the game, so it doesn't
Oh
get
yeah.
flagged?
Yeah, no, it's like for us, like obviously it's original content, and for us, like we love it when people use music and stuff for their streams. So yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to prevent YouTube from going like, hey, but
Knock that
yeah,
off.
I know it feels like even if you make your own music, like YouTube still like, do I own that? I might own it, maybe. Let me put a claim on there just in
I'll
case. And it's
check
like, God.
Google. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, God damn
fuck
it.
them.
YouTube, like, I made this myself. Go away.
Yeah, for real. No, I say that like that. I kind of assumed the answer because everything that I know about you and being as chill as you are, I can't imagine that you were going to just be like,
Yeah,
"Yes, you're
no,
gonna
that's
have
good.
to pay for it." But like as a conceptual idea, it is so nice that when a tabletop game puts out a soundtrack for their game, they're like, "No, please use it on stream." And in these videos and stuff like this is what it's for.
Yeah.
We're giving you music so you can get that vibe even more. And it is so hard sometimes as a tabletop streamer to find music that fits appropriately. So the all of these games coming out like Dice Souls and The Wretched and apparently Cult. I don't know if that one's free stream use, but
I don't know. I mean, like, it's weird because of the position I'm in. I always use it for cult games I stream. And then if anyone's like copyright claim, it's like, no, shut up. I work here.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I encourage people to use it because
um,
what's the point of it if not for the specific
yeah,
use for the players, no matter what media you're using.
no,
Um,
no, it's great. Like Heart does that as well, and there's a couple others. Like it's very empowering to see music fall aside the games that are coming out. So more power to Necrobiotic for doing that or working towards that because that feels like having worked on a movie for a couple of years, like coordinating everything is fucking bonkers. So adding we're going to write a whole book, we got to get the art, we got to get the promos. Now we're going to do a soundtrack on top of it. Like good on you guys.
it's just it's it's who needs to sleep? Like
I
really,
don't,
like
clearly.
yeah, like oh man,
Oh
just
goodness. All right. Well, we are getting closer to wrapping. I try to keep these close-ish to an hour. There's another plug for the cherry blossom beer from the stream. It's right
yeah.
there. Um,
We're sponsored by
we're not sponsored by that. Please
Cherry
don't flag us.
Blossom.
Um, but yeah, this is going on for 2 more weeks now-ish, 3 more weeks.
We have exactly 23 days. So
23 days. So whenever this comes out, we'll have 23 days minus however many days it takes Cole to put this up. So go back it in that time. And if you're watching this for whatever reason after it comes out and the Kickstarter's done, go late pledge it or buy it in a
yes,
store if you're checking this out a
pre-order,
year later and
have
you're
at
weird.
it. Yeah, definitely.
But it's a good game and it's worth playing, if not for unique mechanics, great color, great flavor. It's got a lot of good things that you can just kind of co-opt into your own storytelling. If nothing else, as far as games are concerned, I love collecting games in the way that I do because I played jazz for a short bit.
Ooh, nice.
For a good number of years. I played trombone. And I was always under the impression that creatively, if you're going to make anything, you have to ingest everybody else's shit. Like,
Yes.
you're constantly ingesting everything. So, like, this one's so good for flavor and stuff. Like, just have it on your shelf, if nothing else, because it is so fun to leaf, even through the quick start, to get just inspiration, because it was so lovingly created.
It's a lot of love.
There's a lot of love. And
I
cherry
kiss
blossom
every
beer.
quick start
Yeah.
before it leaves. So,
but cool. So, in closing to all of this, favorite games on the horizon that are not Necrobiotic that you're excited for? Favorite game that you've played? Things like that. Tell me about your interests.
yeah, I would say my favorite games coming out, definitely Lord of the Rings, by Free League. Neotech, from Helmgast, and Parslings, which is another card-based TTRPG.
Is that the whole game?
No. It has a book coming out, but they sent me some cards and everything that sometimes I use for my own game.
That's delightful.
But it's a really cool game, and I definitely encourage people to check it out. It has a very interesting art direction to it as well. And yeah, it's one of the ones I'm probably most excited about for its uniqueness and creativity. My favorite games of all time, I think, would have to be the Genesis, which is back here in this gigantic box. Bring
it closer. I need to know more about Degenesis. I've never heard of it.
Oh man, this is.
Oh, that's a big box. I thought you were talking about the one that looks like a scorpion closer by.
Oh, this is the King in Yellow, just like a little book. I'm trying to read it to my kid every now and then.
The King in Yellow, isn't that Lovecraft?
Yeah, that was before Lovecraft. What inspired Lovecraft?
Really?
I think it's
okay.
God, what was the author? Chambers. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a special edition of the Genesis.
How do I get one of those?
Oh man,
that's gorgeous.
You go to the Genesis website. It is, in my opinion, the best produced TTRPG on the market by several degrees. They have live action, like movie-esque trailers that you can check out, 2 of them. Six More Vodka is the one that produces it, and they do art for like Riot Games, League of Legends, Marvel, and stuff like
Holy
that.
Shit,
so they just have
pretty.
like, yeah, it's gorgeous.
What the fuck?
Gorgeous. And also a beautiful, beautiful world. Very well written.
The site is also unreal. Like the design on even the site alone.
They put a lot of love / money into it. So
yeah, there's definitely that.
So definitely, it's one of my favorites. And of course, if you ever want to play it, let me know because I love running it.
100%. So is the box set all of the books?
Yeah, so that's the special edition. You can get I think the regular edition, which is the 2 books you need to play, Catharsis and Primal Punk, are the 2 books that you need to play. One has all the rules, the other has all the lore in it. But yeah, I used to sell them at conventions before pre-pandemic.
This is absolutely spectacular, and I will
It's sick, ain't it?
looking to more of that.
I need to stop
Cool.
telling you about other games.
No, you need to keep telling me about other games because my shelf is.
Oh, Bear,
Behold
yeah,
my tabletop
yeah, yeah.
shelf and see how it is barren. It's not. There's like 87 books up there,
Oh
87
man.
different systems, but it's going to continue to grow.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, the Genesis Cult is probably one of my absolute all-time favorites. I love me some horror. Um, Riot Minds, Lexicultum, and Trudvang. Two TTRPGs that are amazing. I used to have Trudvang. It's over there somewhere. Invisible Sun by Monty Cook Games. Gorgeous. Very expensive to get into. It comes like in a huge box. It's ridiculous. I think that is it. Yeah.
Invisible Sun?
Yeah, Invisible Sun by Monty Cook Games. Yeah, check it out. It was like Monty Cook's attempt for a
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be like a
Big weird
a
square box.
premium TTRPG experience. Yeah, it comes in this huge box with all these books in it and like in-game character like stuff that you can use. It's a very, very pretty game.
I don't like the statement, we have fewer than 36 copies of Invisible Sun in print.
It's tough because they only print it via Kickstarter, so they're not like, yeah, they sell quick.
That is beautiful, but
yeah, and they had 2 print runs, I believe.
cool.
It is in PDF at least, so I'm glad they ended up releasing it on PDF. They weren't going to.
That's
I'm glad
way
they
cool.
changed their mind.
But well, I appreciate you continuing to add to my addiction, and I very much appreciate you playing with us and being on the show and stuff. I'm gonna have to send out some messages if I ever play, because one day I will play Cult, and I'm gonna stream Cult because it's an interesting topic. So now that I know you know people in Cult,
yeah, let me know. We'll make it a whole thing.
Dope deal. Because I know a guy who very much wants to play a game of Cult, and I might see if I can make him run it because he is the most glorious storyteller I've ever seen. But anyway, thanks so much. Once again, I am Mads, your host. You can find me at JK Madigan on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, things like that. You can't find me like that on Discord. Discord has the worst fucking like username search system.
It does.
So
it's horrific. You got to copy and paste that. That is horrific.
Yeah, if you need to get to me, message me on Twitter. I'll get you to the Discord, or check it, or just check out the TPK Discord. You can find him there because this YouTube's going up on that. This video's going up on that YouTube. Way to know. Check out the Necrobiotic Kickstarter. It's delightful. Don't buy any of Invisible Sun until I get one because there's only the last few dozen copies left.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah. I'm not posting this until I buy one, just in case.
That makes sense. No, that's fair.
That tracks.
Yeah.
But thank you again, Mitch. If you want to plug yourself, where we can find you, where you'll be around, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so Penny for a Tale, pretty much all social media, you can find that. If you find Penny for a Tale, you're going to find me. There's even a website, www.pennyforatale.com, where you can check out all of our stuff. The Kickstarter is out right now. Go get it. 340 backers with so much more to get. The ending thing you need to realize, okay, is Free League, Necrobiotic, Cult, Free League, Necrobiotic, Morkborg, Invisible Sun. All of these are on the same level.
It's true.
Just get that in your mind. That's all I ask.
Comes with cards. You can buy Necrobiotic cards with it. That makes it a premium tabletop RPG. It might even have its own goddamn soundtrack. So go get it. That's premium shit.
It's just me screaming into the void.
Oh god, yes, I'm screaming into a camera with a boa constrictor behind it.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so good. Anyway, y'all take care. We'll see you in the next stream episode on TPK's Twitch, or here next time more stuff gets posted up. But take care. Thanks again. Go get Necrobiotic.